I am so excited to do this podcast. It's our follow-up, our update, if you will. Amoon, Razen, I am so excited to have you here. For people that haven't seen our first video together, they don't know what you're about, they don't know what we're about to dive into. Can you give them a little reintroduction?
Okay, how you doing, guys? My name is Amoon Razen. I'm a naturopathic detox therapist. I help people heal from the fruit to the root and the root to the fruit. But now, honestly, I help people see intangibility to tangibility. So I help people heal cleansing, fasting, and detoxing. 3 ways: cleansing, fasting, and detoxing. I show them the difference between all 3 of them because they're very detrimental to the success of your healing of your body that God has helped me facilitate it for you.
So I know one of the things that's big for you is, and we talked about this a little bit in our last video. We talked about a lot of things in our last video, but can we talk about 2 things? Why are whole foods important, and then is it organic important?
I say whole foods are important because they're God food. God made whole foods, man-made processed foods, and GMO foods. So when I think about it a lot, I say, okay, which one is God food, which one is man food, and which one is scientific food. And I always choose God food first, which is whole foods.
So whenever you're shopping, you're thinking like, what's the closest to the way that God intended it to be in terms of what it was fed, where it was grown, sunlight, all that stuff.
Yes, exactly. So I just think about like God made this food, so God wouldn't put nothing here to hurt me. He put things here to heal me. So I always match it up. Okay, say okay, this is orange, but it has 8 on it, which is PLU. PLU stands for place lookup number. I say okay, this 8 means genetically modified. So they did something to bioengineer this food. God didn't make this, so I won't consume it, because I want to put the best fuel in my body that God made me. So that's what I do.
So what I already know the answer to this, but I'm just curious, what's your take on things? Because I have family members that are like, they're frugal, right? And it comes down to the dollars and the cents. The way that I look at it, and the way that I would imagine you look at it, is you could you could spend the money up front and get the proper food, get whole foods, get organic, highest quality, non-GMO, or you can spend it later in healthcare. But like, what would you say to people that are like adverse to getting organic? Because I know wealthier people that are scared to spend the money, or they're too frugal to spend the money. And I'm like, I've seen what glyphosate and endocrine disruptors do to the body. Like, what's your thoughts on organic, non-GMO?
So my take on it is that like you can't heal in the same environment that got you sick. So times we try to heal in the same environment that got us sick. So if we don't pay for it now, we're gonna pay for it later. And it's like compound interest, but I call it compound health, because you're going to compound the messiness of the food that clog your arteries and mess up your pancreas. Yeah, you're going to keep doing that for years and years, but it's going to cost you 10 times as much if you didn't invest into your body now. So which one you want to take? You want to take today and utilize, I'm going to get better, I'm going to take away some things, I'm going to add some great things to my life, or later on in life, you're going to think about your health and the bill of like $300,000, $400,000 that can take away from your 401k, your IRA, your Roth, or something like that. That's going to hurt you later on. So you got to think about, isn't this an investment? Health is an investment. If you don't have a health, it's an investment. It's going to be a lesson.
This is a perfect segue, because there's 2 things that bring you and I together. I think a lot of people might be thinking like, my audience and who I talk to is a lot of like entrepreneurial people that are starting to make the jump, or they're trying to scale their business. And for some people, it might be hard to connect the dots on why. For you and I, it's easy, right? We met at Offer Mastery Live, and so we kind of have that connection. But my passion is, and the reason I love talking to you, is because everything is about high performance. And it's like, you can't be, and I know you touch on this, and I'd love for you to go into it a little bit, but it's like, you can't be physically fit and spiritually obese. You can't be spiritually obese and physically fit. Like, you've got to, my belief is, if you want to be a high performer, like, you've got to get all the things right. And food is obviously a big component, but talk to us about how you go beyond food, how you see food in the realm, in the context of maybe spirituality. How do you see all of it connecting?
Well, like I said before, for every physical ending is a spiritual beginning. The food is in the physical, but it also has spiritual meaning, because when you eat food, it makes what you feel better. That's emotional, right? Right, emotional, like then mental. You get mental clarity, and then spiritually, you got more alignment to God, because we eat the proper things, and you have to be aligned with God. That's why he say fasting, and he gave you certain things to eat, because he wants you to be at the highest energy content that you can be to connect with him. So when we're not doing that, we lowering our connection. Like if you eat something, you get tired. Do you think you connected to God? If I ate something right now, right, and I want to read the scripture, am I going to intake it easily? No, I'll be tired. I'll be yawning. I'll be doing all these different things. But if I ate high yielding food with good streams of energy, guess what? I can read more. I can intake more. I'm sharper. I'm clear. I'm moving. I'm doing all these different things. So it's always internal. God is one. God do not separate. So for every, like I said, for every physical ending, it's a spiritual beginning. So we eat a physical food, it always go to the spiritual. That's why he talk about the apple. He talking about let fruits be your meat and be your food and healing and like stuff like that, because he wants you to know that you have to heal with these foods. Herbs is a healer of the land. He telling you things to heal you. We just as people, we care about just the money and not the healing. But he gave you instructions on how to heal your body and what to eat.
In light of what you're talking about, can you talk to us about how fasting fits into that too? How fasting is kind of like, fasting is definitely very spirit. I mean, the couple of times that I've never done fast like you've done for a month or whatever,
Yeah.
but I would do like a monk fast, like maybe 40 hours or something. And that would like the clarity and just the things that you go through, the emotional stuff, everything is, it's like the opposite. Like you were talking about having heightened clarity and whatever when you eat food, but it's kind of like the lack of stimulus or the lack of processing the food or whatever. It's like you have these other heightened things that happen during fasting. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can give you an example. Like when I fast, I have more connection to spirit. And how do I know that? Because first of all, well, the things that say to me, I would never say it myself. You know what I'm saying? And then secondly, you're showing God that you're sacrificing so great that he wants to talk to you even more. He wants to give you more enlightenment. He wants to give you more ideas. Because guess what? Everything have what? Music, food, and people. That's what make culture. Food, music, and people. But food is everywhere. Every activity, guess what's gonna be there? Food, because we thrive around food. So when you can fast, which means cover your mouth, and then during that time pray to God, you will get enlightenment. You get the biggest enlightenment ever. You might go through the headaches. You might go through supposedly be the hunger pains. You might go through all these things, but these are all withdrawals from chemicals and processed things that your body don't want anyways. Guess what a dog does when it's sick? It stop eating. It probably eat some grass, but it stop eating for the most part because it's a natural healing mechanism. It's fasting, and that's why you can talk to God too as well. We can go through those processes. It's the biggest thing.
It is so interesting because it's funny. I would have friends or family members like we talked in the previous video. I have this brother with dementia, and then a year ago we spent 6 weeks with him, and a big part of what we worked on was fasting. And we would do these for us longer fasts. You know, my family's Italian, so they're constantly shoving stuff in.
Mm-hmm.
And so when my one friend was out of solidarity was kind of supporting us and going through the fast with us. And this is the kind of person that like needs to eat every 4 hours. And they grew up in a family like that, right? Like always snacking on a Kind bar or something. They always have something. And I remember at a certain point, you know, the third or fourth time we were doing it, he's like, you know, I'm not even hungry anymore when we're 36 hours in. Like I get to the point where like, I thought I could never make it 12 hours, let alone a day and a half. And I'm still not hungry. I was realizing like all these times that wasn't really hunger. So that was like mind blowing to me how that changes people and how it changes your taste buds.
It does, because it recalibrates your taste buds. When we eat dandelion greens and different type of bitters, it recalibrates your taste buds. Your front of your tongue is what? Right here, that's the sweetness. The back of your tongue is the bitter. So it recalibrates your taste buds when we eating the correct foods or you're fasting. It recalibrates. So that's what he's talking about. We in our society today is gluttony. Everything's eat. No, because if you want to take it back to even in those days when we have to supposedly hunt for food, supposedly, right? Guess what? If they was catching something, they'd catch one thing one day and don't eat for another 5 or 6 days. So their body was naturally fasting in the first place. And then secondly, they was moving. They was running around, walking. Guess what? They sweating. So guess what they doing? Detoxing. They sweating from the sun, natural vitamin D. That's a natural sauna. You walking, sweating. And then thirdly, your lymphatic system is moving around. So the toxins are moving, and then the detoxins come with the sweating. And then you're not eating for 4 or 5 days. So these are natural things. If you want to cut it up in that type of thing, they're fasting, they're cleansing, because they probably can't find no meat. Guess what they're eating? Fruits and vegetables. They find the weeds and stuff like that. Then thirdly, they're sweating. So they're doing fasting, cleansing, and detoxing naturally, if you want to really, really break it down.
So it's interesting. I wanted to ask you a question about kosher, but the process by which you're talking about, and I don't know if all of the listeners will understand, and you might know way more than me, but my layman's understanding is like autophagy, right? So autophagy is like the sweeping crew that kind of comes out after 24 or 30 something hours of when we don't eat, right? And like, think autophagy, the root word in Greek literally means self-eating. So it's like the cells are using these like rogue cells or whatever, they break them down and they reuse them and recycle them in helpful ways instead of harmful ways. And people think like when my stomach's growling or whatever, that's a bad thing. And I think it's actually, from my understanding, it's a good thing. And that means you could be in autophagy if you haven't just eaten. If it's been a while, it could mean you're in autophagy and like the system's cleaning itself out. And like there's this whole process, right, that goes on.
Yeah, that's correct. What your body is doing is digesting. Just because you hear a sound don't mean something wrong. Makes sense? And autophagy, yeah, that's what's going on. The process that your cells, they start eating the bad cells. So when you're going through this fasting state, your body starts, look, okay, I'm smart. I'm going to grab these cells over here and eat the bad ones that's in here, which we all have cancer cells. I'm going to eat this up for you. I'm going to eat the bad visceral fat inside of me, inside my organs. I'm going to eat all these different things because your body is smart. That just tells you. Your body's going to eat the bad cells. We live in a, like I said before, we live in a society today that we eat. And guess what? We're not getting to eat the bad cells at all because we keep eating the bad things. So the cells will keep growing and growing. What gets me is a lot of times as people, we want a fast fix, but it took us 35 years to get sick. So we've been doing this for 35, 36 years and then expect a 3 week, 1 week, or 2 week fix. No, you don't have to have a lifestyle change. You need a soul style change. Your life go up and down, but your soul evolves. So you want to make sure you get a soul style type of deal that this going to go towards your soul, will resonate with you. When you're in church, you feel it in your soul. He makes you want to get out, not a life. He hits your soul. He makes you get up and say, okay, or she, I want to go make a difference. Let it hit your soul, because a lot of times people are doing diets, but diet to me means temporary. Because most people do diets for what? Temporary. They don't make a lifestyle change or a soul style change. A diet just means to me temporary. We have to change things from diet to lifestyle change or evolution or soul style change. Whatever you want to call it. I just say soul style because I want you to feel it in your heart. When you feel it in your heart, I feel like it touches your soul. So that being said, we have to change the terminology and the etymology of words of saying that, okay, I just want to do a diet. A diet temporary. People doing the carnivore diet, but you're doing it for like 6 months. And what happens is all that bad fat they're eating, they got to stop it anyways because they look good on the outside, but then they hurt in the insides.
It's funny. I love in one of Myron's videos, he's like, I don't do diets. He's like, the first 3 letters are die. He's like, why would anybody do a diet? Because you feel like you're going to die. And he always cracks me up when he talks about that. But I did want to ask you what your thoughts are on the kosher diet, because that's kind of what I'm trying to eat, more of a kosher thing. So, and I know that you don't do meat or any animal protein, but I try to stay away from like shellfish, all that stuff. What are your thoughts on kosher?
Like talking about your culture, like where you come from, the background, the origin?
Kosher, like Jewish, like kosher style diet.
Yes, I'm saying like your culture that you're talking about, like where you come from. Like, can you explain that to me? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, sorry. So it sounds like I'm saying culture, culture, but I mean kosher, kosher, like kosher.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So what is that? What is that one? I never.
So kosher is like kind of like the Levitical, like, you know, beef, or like animals that chew the cud and don't do shellfish, like environmental filter animals. So like that, I don't think there's any I don't think on vegetables and things or fruits there's any like limitations. I don't think you're allowed to consume certain things in combination. So maybe like dairy and some other thing. But I was just curious if you had a take on that. But when I look at, the Mediterranean, like a lot of people in the Mediterranean area there's like a whole thing with blue zones. I'm not sure I'm super convinced that it's not like a kind of a conspiracy, but
Mm.
there is something to fiber. There is something to the polyphenols in these fruits and vegetables for sure. There's no doubt. And so I was curious to see your thoughts on that. But we can transition away from that. And I would love to talk to you about like what in your line of work, like what do you see as being like the most dangerous thing? What's hurting people the most?
What's hurting people the most is the misinformation on how to read labels.
Mm,
It's one of the biggest thing I see, because just like right now, I have right here, I have like say coconut water, but this coconut water on the back says organic coconut water. That's it. But sometimes people say, okay, I want to do something better, but then they go get coconut water and it will say, for instance, I'm gonna say the name of the company, but it has coconut water less than 2% sugar. So that means it have added sugar to it. It has coconut water for sure, but have added processed sugar to it. So you're trying to rob Peter to pay Paul. So you basically just hustling backwards. So it's detrimental that you learn how to read the ingredients, because
yeah.
that's hurting our community a lot. Because I see a lot of people trying to get better, but say for me, when I first started eating, I say God's food, but I'm gonna go into terms of say vegan, right, or plant based. I was eating a lot of processed Beyond Meat and things like that, and I thought I was doing good, but I really wasn't, because it was even worse. It had a lot of chemicals, a lot of things to stick together. So I'm thinking I'm doing good because the word of plant based, because I have to understand that it says it's happy in the front, facts on the back. So you can look in the front and be all, oh yay, and clapping your hands, but you gotta read the facts on the back. So once I started learning how to read certain things, a lot of that stuff I stopped doing. I don't eat no Beyond Meat, no Beyond Sausage, none of those things. No Red 40, no tofu, none of that.
I'm so glad you bring that up because that was something I wanted to ask earlier today was like what your thoughts were on those particular products. And it just goes back to like this is it to me and to probably to you at this point, it's common sense, right? Like common sense with regard to like not that this stuff is easy and simple because it's not. Like the nutrition label, most people don't know that those nutrition labels, if something has 200 calories, a manufacturer is allowed to have a difference between 20 and 30% of whatever that label is. So if the protein's 10 grams, it could be 7, it could be 13, it could be, they're allowed to have some wiggle
Yeah.
room there. So I don't mean to say it's not easy, but when you look at it with the lens of like, how did God intended? And it's like, okay, if you're doing plant-based and it's like, yeah, this thing's plant-based, but like, how was it assembled? It's like the most synthetic, this is synthetic, all the ingredients are synthetic. And then
Everything
it's
is
packaged
synthetic.
synthetically. It's like, again, I don't remember if we talked about this today or last time or whatever, but it's like every time man gets involved, like we had the trans fats in the 80s and the 90s, and then we had like all these fake sugars in the 90s and 2000s. And now it's like, I do admire the EU for saying like foods are guilty until proven innocent, where in the United States, it's like, well, we don't know if it's killed anybody yet. So we'll just go and add it into the food and
Mm-hmm.
we'll green light it. And it's like, to me, like then you find out that all these things are like endocrine disruptors or they're like wrecking the gut lining. And then it's like, well, and then some people are like, why is that important? It's like, well, because half of your neurons are in your gut. Like,
Facts.
it is so complicated the more that you go in. But I think with the lens of how did God intend it it simplifies it.
Well, God, I put it like this: your health is the most important gift God ever gave you. It's your health, and we gotta take that more seriously. I think as people will take it seriously because we're in a place right now that everybody want a quick fix, quick fix, quick fix. But it's not doing anything to us. We have like we have generational curses. We have generational eating habits. Did you know they did a study that said 98% of things two only no I'm not taking it back. They said 2% of things like cancer and all these things that happen to us. It's only 2%. It's only 2%. That's why. So that's your 2% is what can happen. I'm trying to put it in a better way. If I have to cut this, but but I'm trying to put it away. But it is saying that 98% is not, it's basically
Genetic, right?
genetically. Yeah, genetically,
Yes.
98%, it doesn't happen that way. You know, it doesn't. So,
Yeah, so like the body's not supposed to do this. It's the stuff we introduce either in our environment, maybe mentally, or through food, right? That's what this.
yeah.
I think I heard about this.
Yeah, 2% causes what we do. Like 2%, that 2% is what's causing us. Like, because we eat what we eat, that causes everything. That causes everything for us. What we put in our mouth, what we digest, what we ingest, what we listen to, because you have the three gateways to your soul, which is your mouth, your eyes, and your ears. Your mouth, your eyes, and your ears. So these are things you have to detox from. The things that you say, the energy, if you're speaking life or death, the things that you listen to, which goes into your subconscious mind, the things that you're seeing that makes you want and desire things that you don't even need to be desiring and wanting. So this is spiritual food we talking about as well. Because you can, like I told you before earlier today, you can eat the right foods, but then go home and put Bath and Body Works on your skin. What is your biggest organism on your body? It's your skin. So if I go eat healthy all day, then I go put Prada and a lot of sprays on me, you know what I'm saying, that's full of toxins, then you wonder why you're getting different cysts and stuff like that, because we sprayed it there. And what goes on your skin goes into what? Your blood system. And then now it's in your blood system. So you're hustling backwards a lot of times. I think as people, we just know about the food, which is a big thing. But you have to know about anything, the environment, the things your shower, your toothpaste. If you're a woman putting on eyeliner, if you washing your hair with all these things. When you look, I looked at I don't got hair, but I looked at a bottle of like shampoo the other day. It looked like, I don't know, it just had hundreds of words and small figures. That just tells you right there, that's too much. You know, so we have to learn how to detox the body. I'm going to give one thing that helps me detox my body, and I do it while I'm walking. Castor oil. Castor oil is one of the only oils that supersede just your skin and your muscle. It go all the way to your bone. So when you put it anywhere in your area, it goes to the bone on cysts and all that, and goes there and pulls it up. So I put it all on my skin and I go walking. Let the natural vitamin D and the sun rays hit me like a sauna, and then guess what? It pulls out a lot of toxins. It's very good. Castor oil is very good for you.
So I grew up. A buddy of mine has been talking about this. I grew up. My mom had breast cancer 3 times, and one of the things she would do is put black salve, and not like literally pulled the breast cancer to the surface one time. Like it was the gnarliest thing I ever saw, and she always would talk about castor oil too. But I love what you touched on. I get a lot of flack because I look way older than I am because I have gray hair and I don't do anything for like wrinkles or whatever.
Nah, you don't look old, man. You don't look old at all.
People always at the gym the other day, there's a guy, I call him my twin. He looks like me. He's got gray hair. We're like the same age. And he guessed my age. And he said 46. I'm like, dude, I'm 35. But the reason I bring that up is I am so apprehensive to put on suntan lotion, and people have these routines where they put on all the moisturizers before they go to bed. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, oh yeah, like God didn't intend for us to be out in the sun. So like we need to go and put all this stuff on our skin, because I'm not saying go bake in the sun for 5 years, but like it just makes no sense to me that like we're not designed to go outside and be in the sun. Like I understand like maybe a really light skinned person that's living like in the craziest, sunniest place on earth. Okay, but it's like I'm in Pennsylvania. Like I think I can go outside and like I'll be okay for a couple hours doing a walk, but like there's so much fear mongering around suntan lotion and skin health and all this stuff. And I'm like, to me, it doesn't seem like common sense to be I see why the suntan lotion industry wants to push that message, but to me, I'm like, if you believe in evolution, if you believe in God, either way, that doesn't make any sense to me.
No, you can use raspberry oil, coconut oil. Raspberry oil has a high SPF. You can put that on your body. They'll help block the sun. Coconut oil is one of them. Like, you have different original avenues to do that, you know. And when you look at suntan lotion, and like I think it was a microscope or something like that, it's black. It's black. So you should look it up.
Weird. That is so weird. That is just like so strange to me, but also not really. I mean, it's like full of chemicals, and it's just I don't know. But I do want to switch gears. I'm looking at my notes here. One of the things I wanted to talk about was, our other call was probably 2 months ago, almost at this point, and I know that you're the kind of person, you believe in high performance everything, right? Like high performance finances, high performance mental state, high performance emotional, food, spiritual, all that. And so I wanted to see from you, like, what in the last 2 months, what's the latest and greatest? What have you learned? What are you onto now that you've picked up in the last 60 days or so?
So for me, the last 60 days, I really just picked up for number one is eat more raw foods, like on a physical level, just getting the most energy out of my foods, which is the rawest form I can get it. Like I just have a big salad right here to the left that's full of like cilantro, which pulls out metals, red onions, garlic, um, olive oil, and stuff like that. I really incorporated raw foods because it made me feel better. It's full of fiber, and I do a lot of fruit. 60% fruit, 40% vegetables. So that's one thing I have added on to my lifestyle. Number two, I have been grounding a lot. Grounding because I had that bad notion of being in the sun. Even though I'm a dark skinned brother, like I was like trying to avoid the sun, but I've been way happier by getting sunlight and walking even 4 or 5 miles every 2 days just to see the trees and the flowers and things like that because it's called color therapy. And it was proven that when people go outside and see trees and flowers and bees and hummingbirds and things of that nature, that they become happier. So I have tried it myself, and it has helped me a lot because I think we be in a house so much, and you be in your office, which is four walls, and it's depressing. You know, it has no there's no inspiration in there. There's no creativity in there. And so I have done that. Number three, financially, I have started investing more. I opened up another life insurance policy, IUL, Index Universal Life, which is tax-free, probate-free, come with living benefits. So that's something I know about a lot. I have done that. So a lot of different things. And then with Mastery Live, I have kept contact with you and a couple other people. Just iron sharper iron. Have been learning different things, how to talk different ways, how to read certain books, what to use as platforms and stuff like that. So those been some great things I have learned during this journey the last 2 months. It's really being what's not being stressful, but being self-full. Self-full. So self-full mean pouring into my cup and giving people the overflow. Because sometimes you try to give things from a cup that's empty and you pouring like this, but one drop coming out and you're not helping yourself or no one else. So I have been filling up my cup and then letting it overflow for the people. And that has helped me mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. So be self-full. And that's one of the greatest things I have been learning.
It's so ironic to me that you say that because just as we were jumping on this call here, there was somebody on Twitter that said something to the effect of like self-improvement is like the biggest scam. Everyone that does it is like an idiot or whatever. And I don't know why, it just triggered me. And I'm like, I forget how I responded to it, but I was like, if you're not improving yourself, what are you doing? And then the person wrote back and they were like, self-improvement is basically like some level of arrogance. And I was like, in my mind,
Yeah.
if you're not taking care of yourself, you're a burden for your kids, your wife, your family. Somebody else is going to have to step up to try to help you. And so it's the most selfless thing that you can do to take care of yourself so you can pour into other people versus making yourself a burden for people to take care of.
So the question you should have asked him what kind of phone he has. And he probably had an iPhone. And you should have said, okay, you see how iPhone evolves? Why wouldn't I do the same thing? You see how your smartphone evolves or your smart TV evolves? Why would I do it? Everything around you evolves. So why would you stay the same? It makes no sense. Everything. Your car is talking now. Your car moving by itself. You know, you got electric cars. You have smartphones. You have touchscreen laptops. Everything around you evolves. So why wouldn't you evolve? As you should have told him. That's all I said.
Well, we'll see when I get off this call. If I have any nasty grams from him, I'll have to.
No, it's not nasty. Just what it is. People hate the truth sometimes. The truth sounds like hate to people who hate the truth. And the
Say it
truth
again.
is, I said the truth sounds like hate to people who hate the truth. The truth needs no validation and that's why you eat healthy, because sometimes you don't have a head feeling, you have a what? You have a gut feeling. And if your gut is clear, your spirituality is clear to God, because you know it's not full of BS and it's full of annoyance. So it's two different things. So you never had a head feeling. You always have a gut feeling. And like I said before, the clearer your gut is, the better you can navigate through life. Put it like that.
I agree with that. That's why I think I told you this in one of the last videos, but I made a recipe of it earlier about this thing that I created called the brain bowl. And it's something that I eat like every single day. Every ingredient in it is, with the exception of like kefir, which is an animal-based product, but like everything else in it is like super high in flavonoids and like chia seeds, hemp hearts. I have turmeric, a whole bunch of stuff that's in it, spirulina, and I try to have that for gut. Yeah, exactly for gut and brain performance. I'm like, how can I be at my highest level if my gut's not at its high level? So everything in it's like brain health. But we talked a lot about food. If it's okay with you, I want before we wrap, I want to talk about fitness in the body and all that stuff because I love hormesis. Like a little bit of bad does the body good. A little bit of stress, like a little bit of tearing the muscle down, a little bit of
That
that
works.
does the body good. So can you talk to us about, obviously you're not a small dude. You have a military background and it's crazy. I think, and I said this in the last video, when people hear vegan, they think I think someone that's weak, someone that is not getting adequate protein and all that stuff. Obviously the food is a key critical component of that. And I love how you back it into Bible-based principles. But can you talk to us about what you're doing for fitness and why fitness is important to you?
Well, fitness is important to me because even when you're working out, your cortisol level goes up. So stress is still good at certain points, right? So number one reason why I got into fitness because I wanted to manage my stress. I wanted to be strong. I wanted to have good testosterone levels, but also the biggest main reason is because I wanted to be there for my kids when they're active. When they're active, I want to run around and be able to talk, like chase them and do things of that nature. So for me, working out is just therapeutic to me. I do, like yesterday, I ran 10 miles. At 5 a.m. Yesterday morning, it was raining here. I ran 10 miles nonstop. I did 10 miles. And tomorrow I go to the gym. I would do, what's that word? Full body exercises. If you're a very busy person, full body, I say go there first. Do full body. Because I do full body one day. Then the next day I get off. I can do active recovery, cold plunge, or walk. Then I do full body again. And then I do a day off. And then the next day I do after that, it'll be powerlifting. So I want to go to the gym 3 times a week. But I'm running or walking on other days or just doing a lot of stretching and mobility training. I believe all of it is meant to be together because you need to be mobile, you need to have strength training, you need to have powerlifting, you need to have hypertrophy, you need to have all those different things because they all connect. So on a journey of working out, it's always been a healing mechanism to my soul because when I work out, I feel good, I feel great, and I love to inspire other people. Like you said, I don't eat meat, but people always think I eat meat because I'm shaped the way I'm shaped. I'm best grateful that I have found the proper nutrients to sustain my body. I'm 185, and I'm only 5'9", and I eat just fruits, berries, nuts, grains, and seeds. And I fast and I run. So that just showed me that if you put the right minerals in your body and the right vitamins, you can sustain this body just like a horse, just like a gorilla, just like a giraffe. All these things that's big that only eat plants, you can do it. So my thing of me working out is being inspirational to people that think they think they have to eat meat and things like that of that nature, and they really don't, and that's why I do a lot of it for.
Can I ask you selfishly? I want to ask, when people say, "Oh, you need to get this much protein and this and that," it just sometimes because I'm an omnivore, it's like I feel like I'm gonna explode when you're eating just vegan. Do you like how many seeds, nuts? Like, do you ever feel like you're gonna explode from the stuff that you're eating, or like is it? It's not.
No, I don't because like I give my full regimen real quickly, right? So as soon as I wake up, I'm saying my real regimen, guys. As soon as I wake up, I do warm water with key lime to get my vitamin C. I do key lime with seed, and I squeeze in my water, drink that. I go to the gym, do my thing at the gym. I come back. I have a big bowl of fruit with blueberries, papaya seeds, because papaya seeds kill cancer. I do blackberries, blueberries, strawberries. Have a big bowl of that. After I eat that, 30 minutes to an hour later, I drink a hemp seed protein shake that I make on my own with hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, pineapple, some arugula, and a couple dates. I drink that right afterwards. 2 hours later, I have me some hibiscus tea or dandelion green tea, and have like a half a cup of almonds mixed with pine nuts and probably like some walnuts. That's gonna yield me around like 600, 700 calories by eating those nuts, to be honest with you. And then later on, I have another protein shake. And then for dinner, I have like a whole sweet potato with some mushrooms and some lentils and another salad. So I'm getting all the microbiome nutrients and all that too. And then I do what's that called? I was just going to the store to buy it. Fermented cabbage. What's the name of that?
Kimchi.
You know what I'm talking about? Huh?
Kimchi.
Kimchi. I have kimchi. That's very important too. And I do some alfalfa sprouts. Alfalfa sprouts is what they give the horses. Alfalfa leaf. It's high nutrition and nutritional dense, and it builds muscle real well. So doing things like that, that's my daily regimen, not juice as well. So you can do it, guys. You can go out there, eat the proper things, and make sure you're getting that in. So
it's not just about the face value of protein and this and that. It's about like these like micronutrients of things that are in fruits, vegetables.
You want complex aminos, like so-called proteins. You want complex aminos. So I and you get protein from plants. Everything you're eating, people talk about protein. That's the first thing they ask me. Where you get your protein? Where you get your protein? You don't ask the cow that eat number grass. You don't ask the gorilla that. You don't ask the giraffe that. You don't ask the elephant it. So you ask me the same thing. And to be honest with you, do your mouth go up and down, or does your mouth go up and down and side to side? Which one it goes?
Up and down, side to side.
And why
Sometimes.
is that? Yeah, but for the most part, it go up and down, side to side. If you only was meant to eat meat, like a tiger and all that, your mouth wouldn't go horizontally. It will only go vertical. So that tells you can eat a lot of more. You're supposed to be basically a frugivore, honestly. If you want to do it by a scientific standpoint, everything that only eat meat that steeps into meat, their mouth only can go up and down vertically. Their mouth can go side to side.
Interesting. I've seen other things that make me feel I'm on the fence though about it. So things like canines. Like I heard somebody saying like, why do we have canines? He's like, canines literally they're an evolutionary thing from blah, 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 eating meat. And then there was somebody else talking about enzymes in the gut. And they were like, literally there's enzymes in our gut that like they're only there to break down animal proteins like fish and potentially beef and whatever, but it was like animal proteins. And so there's some things that have been in my head that I'm like, I don't know. And then also just even like Old Testament biblically, when I look at some of the things that people were eating, whether it's like sheep and goats, like I do wonder about some of that stuff. Listen, I'm not discounting. I'm not a carnivore. People that are like subscribed to one or the other. I think it's like crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like one or the other extreme. Sorry, the vegan thing. I think the reality is like in the middle for me. So I'm not a convert yet, but maybe talking to you more and more, maybe I'll get there. I don't know.
Well, depends what you want to do. I tell people all the time, do what makes you happy, but be realistic about it. Like everything most people eat, that like if they say they eat meat, and them like they eat meat. I used to eat meat all the time too as well at one point in my life. But when you eat meat, you gotta think about the things that you're eating. What do they eat? I don't think we think about that. The things that you're eating, what does it eat?
Right. It's not about what you eat. It's about what you eat has eaten.
Yeah, exactly. So you're getting secondary protein anyways. All protein source starts from what? Plants. So you eating the cow that ate the grass. The cow got the protein for the grass, and then you ate the cow. So you're getting the secondary protein while I'm getting the primary.
I don't know. I'm just like, I'm not sold on that because it's like, number one, I'm not a scientist, but number two, I'm like, cows have a very different stomach system than we do, right? Like they have these multiple stomachs, which like allow them to take something as simple as grass and turn it into something different. And so it's like the same as saying like, it's a 1-to-1, right? Like people always say, oh, the cholesterol from eggs is what's creating cholesterol.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a whole nother conversation, whether that's actually a problem or not, because every cell has cholesterol in the body. And it's like a natural thing to have within the cell wall, from my understanding.
I think what they're trying to say is that the method they put through the chicken to be like ready in 2 or 3 weeks, that's what the problem is. It's the process. I think mostly the problem is the process these things are going through. Like how they kill the animal. Now the animal is fearful. Now it has all these enzymes that make it get anxiety. Now you're eating the same meat that has a lot of anxiety and it's stiffened up because it go stiffen up when it's scared. So that being said, you eat that too as well. Now you have more anxiety. That's why anxiety and all that is prone to more people today, because of things they're eating. They're eating a lot of things that has been through a stressful environment. Just like DNA is passed down, all these other traumas passed down through the foods as well.
Mm-hmm.
You can get so many different diseases even from food.
I think we talked about this in our last interview, but there's probably people listening that are like, both of us are so full of it. But there was a study done on two type groups of people. There was one study that was done, I believe, on Jewish relatives that were in concentration camps, and they found these genetic markers that would like trigger people, grandchildren and grandchildren and grandchildren later, if they were in a certain environment that reminded them of 1940s, Germany or whatever, or being in that kind of environment of a concentration camp. I don't know what that looks like or what it was in the test. But they were triggered. The simpler one was they did car accidents. And so someone's grandparent could have been in a horrible car accident and be really traumatized. And the grandchild would have a fear or a hard time learning how to drive because of this trauma. And so people don't realize that we don't fully understand it yet, but there are definitely traumas that are passed down through genetics. And God tells us generational curses, right? So we shouldn't be surprised. Like, it's in the book.
Yeah, generational curses, that means like generation. Like they say, if you don't fix what your father didn't fix in this lifetime, it would pass on to your kid. So if that's passed on, everything else can be passed on. They did a study actually with mice, and they kept shocking the mice every time it got close to a cherry blossom tree. And then generation after generations, the mice after that, they seen the cherry blossom tree and they ran away from it because it's passed down. And we got to stop looking with these two eyes and look with this eye right here, because we got to understand, like, we breathe in oxygen, right? Can we see oxygen? No, cannot see it. We listen to music and frequencies, but can we see it? No. So everything unseen, I would argue that it's more important than the things that we see tangible. And that's why I say it's always tangible. It's always intangible gifts before tangible gifts, because it's always the unseen is more important. If you don't breathe for 2 or 2.5, 3 minutes, you're dead. So that being said, it's the things we gotta learn about that we don't see. And that's why I say, when people, like, say somebody get in trouble or somebody with anything, they all good when they all good and not tripping about anything when everything is good. But anything happen bad, they always go to a spiritual thing that they never seen before.
That's why a lot of people pray when they're going through a hard time.
Yeah, they pray. They pray then. They pray to the unseen when they going through chaos. But while they going good, they pray. They want to see everything. Oh, it need to be verified. I need to see it. But when you're in trouble, you pray back to something that you never seen before. So I always believe in so within, so without. It always start with you. And it's always the unseen that means the most. Because every disease, so-called disease, starts in the spirit first, and then it manifests into something that's physical.
That makes sense to me, and I'm very much aligned with that. Before we wrap here, the one last question that I have for you, Amoon, is if someone's listening and they are a high performer, they want to be the highest performance version of themselves, from your perspective, in the naturopathic, I can't say it right, in your world, what would you recommend that they do or start doing if they want to be the highest performing version of themselves?
First of all, be accountable. Number one, be accountable for everything that happens in your life. Victimhood has nothing to do with high performance. Always know everything starts with you. You can evolve your actions, but you can't change other people's. Number two, start spending time alone. Alone time to use is a great thing to reflect on who you are and what you want to become, and who is your highest self. It's a reason why when it says meditation in the Bible, it said it too, that he went by himself. He went by himself because he can hear God's voice. Yahweh can hear God's voice. So get some alone time to yourself. Be more self-full. And then number three, start, like I said, start reading labels, learning how to read labels, and eating, consuming God's food and not man food. And number four, what's the most important, um, be patient with everybody, but don't wait on no one.
Ooh.
Be patient with everybody, but don't wait on no one. A lot of times, at people, at high performers, you wait on things that you don't need to wait for. Just be patient with them, because patience is the vehicle that drives out deception every time. If you're patient, if you're patient, you'll never be deceived. It's a lack of patience that make you deceive. And number five, love. Love fully. Love is the most ingredient, the highest ingredient ever. That's why you speak love into people. We speak love into your food. That's why they did a study when they was talking to plants, and one died because it wasn't speaking love into it, and then one was alive when it spoke love into. So love is everything. Love, oneness, and peace. Love don't separate. Love is one. That's why I do peace sign like this. I don't do it like this. I do it like this. Because love is one.
Interesting. I'll have to start implementing that. I like that. Well, Amoon, as always, I love having you on. Thank you on behalf of myself, but also the audience, on helping us kind of stretch our brain on some of these things, whether they're spiritual, whether it's fitness, or whether it's the food stuff. I love seeing you. I love getting to hear about what the latest and greatest is going on. I'm going to try grounding. I'm going to try.
Grounding is a good one.
I'm going to try a couple of things that we talked about in this video.
You have more pores on the bottom of your feet anywhere. You have more pores on your bottom of feet than anywhere. So when you ground, all the electricity from the ground, it goes into your body. If you have a house or apartment, guess what the house or apartment has to have? A grounding rod. So you have to ground.
It sounds woo-woo until you actually have to get your electrical panel redone at your house, and you see the grounding rod, you realize it's like real stuff.
Exactly.
Exactly. All right, my friend. I love seeing you. Thank you for being on the podcast. And yeah, until the next one.
Yeah, reach out. Reach out. Amoon,
Where can
Razen.
people find you?
Yeah, reach out. Amoon, Razen on YouTube. My website is up, but it's getting revamped, but still up right now. You still can go check it out. It's on rootbeforethefruit.com. Rootbeforethefruit.com. And reach out on there with me. I'll talk to you. We can maybe do a detox together, and I'll help you throughout your journey.
Root, BEFORE, right? Before the fruit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Amoon, thank you so much. Love seeing you, brother.